May is here, and so am I, doing that thing that I do at the beginning of every month. What thing, you ask? Why, I tell you about the video games that are going to come out in that month. Here are May 2024's big game releases. And if you're watching this video and it's still only April, don't be alarmed. You don't need to comment. I assure you, it will be May very soon. I promise. As always, a friendly reminder that we do our best to make these videos comprehensive and accurate, but mistakes do happen, and more often than that, new information becomes available after we've already shot, edited, and uploaded the video. So apologies if something I say is coming out this month doesn't come out this month, or if something I don't say does. Got it? Last month we forgot a couple things. Topspin 2K25 and Harold Halibut both landed on the PlayStations, Xboxes, and PC. One of them is a handmade claymation adventure game, and it's very quirky and about space aliens and fish and stuff, and the other is about tennis. I'll let you sort it out. Anyway, as for this month, on May 2nd, Switch owners can take a peep into the cool and fishy deep in Endless Ocean Luminous, the first new entry in Nintendo's Scuba series that got 2 Wii games a million years ago and hasn't come up for air again until now. Still that day, Abiotic Factor hits early access on PC, a 1 to 6 player cooperative survival crafting game that takes place in a scientific research facility where things have gone sideways in multiple dimensions. So basically Half-Life meets Valheim, I guess? Then there's Foundry, also on PC in early access, which lets you be a robot and run a factory and build complex machines to your heart's content. If you want to be something squishier than a robot and engage in considerably simpler activities, there's Armed and Gelatinous Couch Edition, the console version of the multiplayer indie party game that originally hit PC in 2016. Seems like the kind of game that probably should have been on consoles a lot sooner, but hey, better late than never, and now it's on everything. Finally, on the 2nd, MotoGP 24 comes to everything, the latest installment in the long-running series in which you play as a cybernetically enhanced physician working in the United Kingdom, a motorized general practitioner, or MotoGP for short. Okay, not really. It's actually a motocross game. You probably figured that one out. But who's to say that one of these people on little bikes doing jumps isn't a British medical professional?
So what I told you was true, from a certain point of view.
On May 3rd, Cozy Space Survivors hits Steam, a colorful roguelite that describes itself as a shorter experience for people who don't have much time but love playing and finishing games, which is something I genuinely appreciate. I know a lot of people want as much bang for their buck as humanly possible, but it's not like there's a shortage of massive 100+ hour RPGs and open world games out there, not to mention free-to-play service games that get like a Sisyphean deluge of regular updates constantly. Sometimes it's just nice to actually beat a game in less than 7 to 10 business days. Controversial opinion, I know. Anyway, on May 7th, Heading Out hits Steam, which is a driving game inspired by classic road movies with a slick, mostly black and white style that has you driving across the US, steering clear of Johnny Lawman. This one kind of reminds me of Cross Country USA, this ancient text-based game about truck driving that they had us play back in computer class in 4th grade, but this one looks cooler because you're probably not making the car go faster by typing out speed up or being forced to share the keyboard with Cale Williamson. Also, you're in a sports car doing crimes. Also that day is Venture to the Vile on PC, a 2.5D Victorian fantasy Metroidvania full of monsters and puzzles and secrets and some whimsical but also kind of creepy animal people, and some people in some whimsical but also kind of creepy animal masks. On May 8th, there's Indika, which may sound like a nice laid-back, relaxing, sleepy time strain of video game, but it is actually a really unhinged-looking game. It's like an adventure puzzle game about a nun that's got platforming and weird fisheye angles, and I don't know what's going on, but I'm intrigued. That's on New Gen and PC. Still that day on PC, you can try to escape a sinking ship in the puzzle platformer Gift, or experience the open world survival MMORPG V Rising in all of its version 1.0 glory. That hit early access a year ago and got a lot of people in its thrall, and it's expected to sink its teeth into consoles later this year. On May 9th, the indie Metroidvania Animal Well comes to PC, Switch, and PS5, and as the title suggests, that's about a well full of animals, which is all very well and good, but if it sounds like too many animals, there's also Little Kitty Big City, where you play as one specific feline causing some mischief around town, not unlike that game about the goose that came out a while ago. I forget what that one was called. Anyway, the cat game is on the Xboxes, the Switch, and the PC. Spectral Scream leaves early access on the 9th. That's a horror game about rooting around in purgatory with up to 3 friends and a whole bunch of demons and awful creatures. That's playable in VR or just regular R. On May 10th, Homeworld 3 hits PC, the long-awaited sequel to the beloved space strategy game that was even more long-awaited after it got delayed from its original March release date. That one still lets you build stuff in space, but now there's more shit floating around up there, and it probably doesn't run very well on your mom's Windows XP computer, unlike its 2003 predecessor. On the 14th, the Rogue Prince of Persia hits early access, which is basically Prince of Persia by way of Dead Cells, developed by the Dead Cells team no less. It's going to be really interesting to see how this compares to the recent side-scroller Prince of Persia we just got with the Lost Crown, or how it compares to, basic Dead Cells. Between the Dead Cells Castlevania DLC and this, it's really cool seeing an indie team getting to play around with a legacy IP. I hope it yields good results. BioMutant, that open-world action RPG about cute little animals doing kung fu, hits Switch. This game is far from perfect, but I enjoyed my time with it, mostly thanks to the setting and art direction, by which I mean I got to make a little guy who looked like my dog, and I made him run around beating the shit out of lizards and stuff. It was pretty cool. Still that day is Neptunia Game Maker R Evolution, which will have you trying to survive the unforgiving world of game development, managing your own studio, and probably doing some fantasy anime stuff on the side. Ironically, I stumbled on a report about this game's Japanese physical sales being some of the worst numbers in the history of the long-running Neptunia series, selling less than 6,000 copies across Switch, PS4, and PS5, so hopefully some Western Neptunia fans can help move the needle now that it's out in North America and Europe. On May 16th, Ghost of Tsushima's Director's Cut hits PC. The latest former PlayStation exclusive makes its way to a platform where the X button is between the Z and the C buttons instead of the square and circle buttons. These ports have been kinda hit or miss on a technical level, so here's hoping that this one sticks the landing because it's a great game, and it's always nice when more people get to enjoy something like this. More importantly, I really want to see people mod a bunch of weird stuff into it, like Waluigi and Thomas the Tank Engine and Shrek. If you want some more hardcore slicing and dicing, Die by the Blade also drops on PC, which is a 1v1 sword dueling game with one-hit kills, kinda like a modern spin on Bushido Blade. If you're more into shooting stuff with careful precision, there's also Robobeat, a rhythm-based first-person shooter, which seems kinda like Metal Hellsinger for people who prefer synthesizers and neon over guitars and fire. On May 21st, one of the most anticipated Xbox games finally drops with Senua's Saga, Hellblade II, the follow-up to Ninja Theory's 2017 quasi-sleeper hit, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. This game will definitely be a visual spectacle, but the developer has been pretty transparent that it's not a big, huge, sprawling epic, and that it can be played through in around 10 hours. Is that worth the price of admission? That's entirely your call, but hey, on the bright side, at least it's also going to be available on Game Pass. That's on Xbox Series and PC. That same day, we've got the console release of the System Shock remake. If you're dying to play Ken Levine's BioShock spiritual successor Judas, it might be worth revisiting BioShock's spiritual predecessor, which is this game. That's on the Xboxes and the PlayStations, and it's already on PC. Finally, on the 21st, Paper Trail is a cute-looking puzzle adventure with a novel foldable world mechanic. That's on everything. If that wasn't enough paperwork, 2 days later, Nintendo Switch gets a nice reprint of Paper Mario and the Thousand-Year Door, which gives the GameCube classic a visual overhaul and some minor tweaks. And of course, if that's not your speed, there's an equally whimsical but considerably less colorful adventure in Hauntii, which is coming to everything. Finally, on the 23rd, there's Songs of Silence, a strategy RPG where you defend your realm from the impending threat of silence, which I'm guessing is more malevolent than regular peace and quiet. In any case, you can make a big ol' racket on new gen and PC. On the 24th, Retropolis 2 Never Say Goodbye says hello to PlayStation VR 2, and a few days later on the 28th, the WB-centric Smash-like MultiVersus gets released again. It did the whole early access open beta thing a year ago, but then it went dark for a while, so if you really missed making Shaggy beat the shit out of LeBron James and Steven Universe, you can do that all over again on everything but Switch. On the 30th, Umbraclaw comes to everything. In this game, you play as a dead cat, which doesn't sound very exciting when you phrase it that way, but trust me, it's more interesting than that. You're in the Soul Plane, which is like an ethereal realm. Not to be confused with Soul Plane, the movie, where Snoop Dogg is a commercial airline pilot.
1, 2, testicles 1, 2. Hey y'all, what's crack-a-lackin'? This is your Soul Plane chauffeur.
Also on the 31st, Selaco hits early access on PC. That's a retro-styled FPS that takes some cues from the Fear games. Speaking of spooky stuff, you can also find your worth behind the waking wheel in Nightmare Kart. That's the fan-made kart racer formerly known as Bloodborne Kart. That had to get some changes made to it for legal reasons. Be kind of cool if Sony did anything with that IP other than telling other people not to do stuff with it. Then of course, if you want to be boring while going really fast, there's F1 24, the latest Formula 1 racing game about the actual real motorsport. I know a lot of people got into F1 because of that show, and it's obviously a very popular sport, but compared to the racing game with cleric beasts and Mensis cages and Canehurst carriages with Gatling guns on them, it is boring. But that's fine. Boring is generally subjective, and even when it's not, it's okay to enjoy boring stuff. I like lots of objectively boring stuff, like doing yard work, or going to bed at 9:30, or reading nonfiction history books on very specific topics like nighttime, or candy, or salt. Last weekend, I got excited about the napkin rings at Cost Plus World world market. What the fuck happened to me? Napkin rings? That is so boring. Anyway, F1 24 is objectively less boring than napkin rings, and it's on everything but Switch. Anything with race cars is less boring than stuff that doesn't have them, so there. I'm sorry I said mean things about F1 24. Hit F5 to refresh your browser. Anyway, finally, at some point in May, Some Assembly Required will let you build robots in a virtual space using your MetaQuest, and those are all of the games that we presently know about at this point in time. They will probably announce some after we make this video, just to make us look foolish, and then you will scold us in the comments for looking so foolish. If you'd like a more comprehensive way of keeping track of what's coming out and what already came out, check out IGN Playlist. We even have a handy QR code somewhere around here. It'll take you right to a list of this month's game releases. And if you don't trust QR codes, or you don't know where your phone is to take a picture of it, or you're watching this on your phone, you can also just go to ign.com/playlist. Hopefully we didn't miss anything major, but if we did, let us know. And also, let us know what you're playing. And also, what's the most boring thing you like? Sound off in the comments, but don't get too excited about boring stuff. That's just weird. And with that, we're out of here. I will see you next month. Somehow, it's already almost June. You know what they say, time flies when you're having fun, or shopping for napkin rings at Cost Plus World Market because you're old. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you later.